Some say Chinese is one of the most difficult languages in the world, and learning it is almost impossible.
So learning Chinese, the most difficult thing.
非常非常非常非常非常难.
So I'm sort of tone deaf. I can't really hear them.
I think the cultural mindset is the biggest complication for
The grammar.
知吃思诗都还难
It's just complicated so much.
Only because you're not learning it in the right way. Why not try Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin. Joining me today, the Coggy and calligraphy-loving Carl Benjaminson.
Hello.
Hi, I just did that introduction on his demand. He asked me to do that because he needs to show his love for Coggy.
Well, apparently also I am not artsy or athletic like our comrade Tony, so I think calligraphy and corgi loving is a pretty good description of the two things that I most like.
Did you ever love a real person, as in a star or a celebrity, when you were young?
When I was really, really young, and this you'll be able to carbon date me based on this answer, I used to really like David Hasselhoff because he was in Knight Rider, the talking car that fights crime. It was, by the way, it's one of those examples where you should not go back and explore your childhood TV series because you realize how bad they are.
But nevertheless, 他曾经是你的偶像. He was your idol.
Absolutely.
他是你的偶像. And yeah, today we are going to talk about idols. Since, the fan culture and everything sounds very foreign, a little bit foreign to me, but absolutely trendy here in China, and we call it 饭圈文化 or 粉丝圈文化. We're going to explain all about it. And for those of you who are interested in Chinese culture and you want to get to grips with the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes a day and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, CRI Learn Chinese, to watch many fun videos and live streams. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway. 为了见偶像，我在机场等了3个小时。太疯狂了，我还不是最疯狂的，有人等了6个小时呢，简直不敢相信。Have you ever waited for an opportunity to see your childhood idol or someone you really, really love and just waited and did a bunch of crazy things for them?
No, I'm perhaps a little bit too boring. But no,
Too chilled.
I know people who have done that, people who really got quite obsessed with celebrities and do things like loitering at airports.
The funny thing is, when I was a kid, I was too, let's say, mature as a kid. I was like, why would I do this? Why would I spend time and energy and probably money to chase after someone who does not even know me? But today, as a young adult, I would kind of feel a little bit regret of not having that passion, not having that kind of pure excitement because I've seen a certain movie or listened to a piece of music or, being able to grab the ticket to a concert.
But I think young people today have it easy. Like when I was a kid, if you wanted to catch up with a celebrity, you had to loiter at an airport or at the hotel or like backstage. Now you can just stalk all of your favorite people online and it's so much more convenient. You can stalk them from the comfort of your own home.
That's another way to go. But nevertheless, for the first sentence for today's episode, 为了见偶像，我在机场等了3个小时。
In order to meet my idol, I waited in the airport for 3 hours. So 为了 is one of the key points for today. So it means in order for something to happen.
So 为了学中文，我成了 CRI Learn Chinese 页面的粉丝。
So in order to learn Chinese, you have to listen to CRI Learn Chinese.
Or be the fan, be a follower of CRI Learn Chinese Facebook page. Or 为了早下班，我很努力的工作。 In order to get off work on time or early, I tried really hard to finish doing what I'm supposed to do today. So 为了 in order to or for. And also, the examples we made are a little bit more complicated. Actually, you can just use it as for. So I will do anything for you. 我可以为了你做任何事。I could do anything for you. So for you, 为了你我什么都能做。I 什么 whatever 都可以做。I can do. So I can do whatever for you.
So that's a pretty simple structure.
Yes. So you can use 为了 as in order to. So 为了 plus a sentence or 为了 plus a noun. 为了 as in for. 为了见偶像 so in order to meet my idol. 我在机场等了3个小时.
So I waited in the airport for 3 hours. So 我在 so I'm at.
机场
机场 so airport. 等了 to wait. 3个小时 3 hours.
I think 等了 is more like waited because we know the particle 了 can serve as a particle signaling that the sentence is from the past tense. It can also be used as one suggesting something will happen in the future, a little bit confusing, being the signal word for both tense, but that's how it works. And here, 等了 means I have waited. This waiting behavior has happened already in the past. So, 为了见偶像，我在机场等了3个小时，太疯狂了。
You're crazy.
I love it when you're crazy and 你疯了，你太疯狂了. These two this kind of expression can be used in both languages. So 太 is to, 疯狂 crazy, 了 is at the end of the sentence to complete the sentence structure. 太疯狂了 here 你 is omitted and also implied. 你太疯狂了. It's kind of like in English you can also say that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's a self-contained phrase, even though it doesn't have, the subject is not explicitly listed.
Yes, and I think it's the same thing in Chinese as well as in English. When you say you're crazy or that's crazy, it's not as, let's say, aggressive, or you're not trying to hurt the people you're talking about. It's more like you use that phrase with close friends who won't take it as an offense. And it's a way to show that you're shocked.
Yes.
But if in English you say, are you sick? Or in Chinese you say, 你有病吗? That's a little bit too rude.
That's got a very negative connotation to it.
Exactly. So I guess crazy people are not so bad after all. So 你太疯狂了 or 太疯狂了. And then part A said, 我还不是最疯狂的，有人等了6个小时呢.
So I'm not the craziest. Someone waited for 6 hours. So 还 in this case means like I'm still not. So I'm still not as crazy as the other person.
So if you say 我还不饿, I'm still not hungry yet. Or 你还不走, why are you still here? Why are you still not leaving?
Yeah.
So 还 carries the meaning of still.
Another point is 最, so means the most of
The
something.
most, yes.
So in this case, they're not the most crazy.
Yes, they are not the craziest. And here I think you can insert a because you're given an example showing that you are not the craziest. But the because is again implied, and it's the same in English. You don't really have to say it. That sentiment is implied. Because 有人等了6个小时.
Someone waited for 6 hours. So 有人 is just somebody.
Someone.
等了, as we covered before, is waited in the past. 6个小时, 6 hours.
6 hours. 有人等了6个小时呢. And 呢 here is a particle you use to stress the tone, to make a point that you're having a stronger opinion or emotion towards this thing you're describing. 简直不敢相信.
So I can't believe it. So 简直 is to
Simply
something.
Yeah, if we combine this with the previous point we've just learned, 他简直是疯了. I think it's simply crazy. So 简直 is the kind of word you use in a sentence when, again, you have a stronger emotion. 不敢相信.
So 不敢 is to dare not something. And 相信 is to believe. So it's like, I just can't believe it. I dare not believe that this is true.
Exactly. And 不敢相信 is I think it's a set phrase you use in daily life. 我不敢相信. It's almost always when something crazy happens, but you can also use it for occasions when something really, really good happened. So, 他中了彩票，我简直不敢相信. He won the lottery. I cannot believe it. 我不敢相信. I dare not to believe it.
Yeah.
So, set phrase, please don't use it for other things like 我简直不敢吃这顿饭. I dare not eat it. It does not work if you use it in other sentiment.
Okay, so you can't necessarily use it for you can't repurpose it for a practical thing.
No, don't. And don't rephrase it for an emotional thing either. For example, you cannot say, I dare not to cry. It just does not work. Or dare not to be happy. It does not work.
Okay.
It has to be about belief.
Okay.
So, 不敢相信，简直不敢相信. So these are the conversation. Any questions?
No, I think that was pretty straightforward. Shall we practice the conversation?
Yes. Let me start. 为了见偶像，我在机场等了3个小时。
太疯狂了。
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 我还不是最疯狂的，有人等了6个小时呢。
简直不敢信 Sorry. 简直不敢相信。
You're listening to Takeaway Chinese with myself, Niu Honglin, and Carl. We would love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts via email to learnchinese@cri.com.cn. Coming up next, let's talk about the idol and fan culture in current world and specifically in current China. Specifically, thank you. And specifically in current day. Don't go away, so you will take some Chinese away. Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin, joined by Carl today. Carl, do you know Jay Chou?
I have heard of him, but only in so much as he was a topic of discussion on one of our other shows on CRI, which is Roundtable.
So, Jay Chou, 周杰伦, for us, especially our generation, So, Jay Chou, 周杰伦, has made headline news today. What am I doing? Has made headline news recently because he was an 偶像. He was our 偶像 for our generation, and our generation has reached to a point when we stopped spending so much money, so much time, and so much energy trying to share the idol we have with everyone in the world. We stopped doing that, but younger generation are still doing that.
So when we talk about our generation, we're talking about millennials who are now becoming old people versus Gen Z
Generation Z,
who are unbelievably young, who are really into internet culture and new celebrities and fresh faces.
Yes, and for them, 偶像 is not even the word for them. They call their 偶像 idol. So it, as you can assume, it's from a word that shares the similar pronunciation of idol.
You mean idol as in like
love peas.
Love peas.
Idol, yeah. And they call themselves 粉丝, which is the same for us in our generation as well. So 粉丝 is fans, again, based on the pronunciation of fans. But in Chinese, 粉丝 is also a kind of a noodle that is made of potato or sweet potato or yams. So they are transparent. Do you call it 粉丝 transparent?
They're otherwise known as glass noodles.
Glass noodles. Thank you. So they are basically glass noodles, and that's 粉丝. But again, 粉丝 fan sounds alike, so they're calling themselves 粉丝. And after that, we have 粉丝圈 or 粉丝文化. 粉丝文化 would be the fan culture. In fan culture, I can actually understand the fan culture or the mentality of it, because for me, it's kind of like you have something you really love and you want to share the thing you discovered to basically everyone in the world.
Oh, like everyone who's ever watched Game of Thrones ever talks about it and wants to share that with everyone around them constantly.
Yeah, and that is why something very popular and, let's say, common for 粉丝圈, some phrases would be 他很努力 or 他一直在成长. So 他很努力 would be he has working really hard. He has been working really hard. 他一直在成长. He's always been improving. Well, he's come a long way. He's growing towards a better self. Things like that. So for them, the point was never that their idol, their 爱豆 or their 偶像 is someone that's perfect. It's more like they are the people who has been there with them when they grow up. It's this shared experience, this shared journey that makes this idol.
So what's the meaning then of another, it seems like a fairly common Chinese word, which is 偶像派?
偶像派. 偶像派 is as opposed to 实力派. Not a very good word, because like I described about 偶像, about idol, that they are someone who's still working really hard to become success, to become famous, to really become someone who is a star. So they were not there. So they have certain talent. Maybe they're very pretty. Maybe they can dance, but not perfectly. So 偶像派 would be the kind of people who have a pretty face, but not necessarily very professional yet. Whereas 实力派, 实力 would be profession or your real talent.
Like you're an established star?
Yes, basically 实力派 would be someone who may not necessarily have a pretty face or really glamorous appearance, but really good at what they're doing. So 偶像派, pretty face, not a lot of content. 实力派, not very pretty, but good at what they're doing.
So I'm a 实力派.
You're a 实力派.
Excellent.
But the recent internet clash surrounding Jay Chou was actually because a lot of Jay Chou fans a lot of Jay Chou fans got a little bit offended because some young kid said online that, who is this guy? Why is he so popular? Why do people say that he's popular? Why can't I get a ticket for his concert? Or people are constantly complaining about being really hard or facing problems getting his ticket. One, I don't see that he's very popular based on, it's harder to explain. I don't want to explain it anymore. So the recent internet clash was actually started by a puzzlement over why it is so difficult to get a ticket for a Jay Chou concert when his online presence barely registers. Kind of kindled the flames of an internet data traffic war between fans of this middle-aged singer and the current champion of the internet traffic. So the so-called internet traffic was represented by some data on Sina Weibo, a Twitter-like social media platform. So if you really like someone, you talk about him. And that data was basically how much this guy has been discussed as a celebrity.
So the person who is favored by the younger audience was much closer to the top of the most talked about list than Jay Chou, whose fans tend to be a little bit older and maybe a little bit less online.
So basically what the fans of Jay Chou did was to play their game, trying to get their idol, 让他们的偶像 onto the top of the list and talk about him enough times on this social media platform so he could be considered famous or be recognized by the younger generation as well.
So to put it a different way, the older people tried to get online a lot to show that they're still cool and they can still have cool things, unlike all those troublesome young people who don't have any taste.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that, but it's more like for our generation, we recognize stars as someone who got talent, got the look, got pretty much everything. And that is why we don't necessarily understand the taste or the way, the fan culture, 粉丝文化, the fan culture in nowadays China. And also we're trying to make a case that real popularity does not lie in internet traffic, does not show in some so-called Weibo data. It is the kind of recognition that is done by everyone or the majority of the country, and we show this by saying that if we want to be the top of your stupid list, we can.
But I think it's also important to remember that this new young guy is just starting out in his career. So who knows if in 15 years we'll look back on him as the next Jade Cho. I think the big takeaway though is if you don't want to look silly, don't get extremely mad online about things like that. Just roll with it and know that your taste in music or film is the best, even if no one else believes you.
Yeah, nevertheless, we do have a long history of 粉丝文化 in Chinese culture. For example, if you're familiar with 杜甫, which was a very important, very famous poet in Chinese history, he was a huge fan of Li Bai. So he wrote a lot of poems talking about Li Bai, talking about dreaming about Li Bai, thinking about Li Bai. His personal, they're meeting together like 冬日怀李白, so thinking about Li Bai in winter day, 春日忆李白, remembering about Li Bai in a spring day, and 梦李白, dreaming about Li Bai. So yeah, he was a fan too, and it was really good poems. And also there were 喜欢小鲜肉 or 追星的例子 in ancient time as well. There were a very pretty guy. He was really good looking, and there was this culture or habit in ancient China where if you see someone and you think they're looking really good, you throw fruit at them. So for him, it was very sad because every time he went onto the street or doing shopping or whatever, tons of girls throw different fruit on him. You know, if you throw a peach at someone, it works, but if it's a watermelon, then you're basically hurting them. So for him, he's always coming back home with bruises on, and I think that was the first on record 追星的故事. So
was that meant as a compliment, or was it meant as a bit of a curse for someone for being prettier than everybody else?
Total compliment. It shows your appreciation of his beauty and also show that you really like him.
Which is funny because, like in Western culture, for example, if you go to a stage show or performance and people suck, you throw fruit at them.
I think it depends on the quality of the fruits. If you throw really nice tasting, good condition fruits, it's better. But if you throw, I don't know, expired eggs or rotten tomato, then it's not good. Nevertheless, 粉丝文化 is something that we discussed today. It might not be that familiar to you, but don't worry, it was not very familiar to us as well.